So welcome back to the Average Dad channel. So I've reconditioned the neck on a factory second Telecaster in my first video, and now I'm going to join the neck to the body. So before I do that though, what I did was I took on the bridge, I took off a couple of the saddles so I could access the holes directly for where the string through holes actually. I don't know if you can see that, but the string through holes are right here, and I want to make sure that I get this bridge lined up to the neck as the best I can. So what I did was I put the neck into the body, and it fits absolutely perfectly. There's no slop whatsoever. I think it's going to be pretty much right on. But what I did was I kind of filed down these dowels to kind of a taper, and what I'm going to do is put these dowels in through the bridge into the string holes to line it up. So right there, it's a perfect fit. So when I drill the holes, I know that the bridge is lined up. So a good way I like to do to make sure the bridge is lined up is use a piece of thread. And what I like to do is just go from the nut. I have the nut on already. I go from the high E string to, there's a little, you can't see it, there's a little groove on the saddle, and that shows me where my high E string is in alignment to my fretboard, and you can see that the string is equidistant from the edge of the fretboard. And then I just do it on the low E string, and it's equidistant to the edge of the fretboard. So if you look at it, the distances are perfect on both sides. So the neck is really lined up well. Now another thing, I don't know if you can see it or not. I'll try to zoom in on it. Really tough to see here, but these holes are kind of large, where I'm going to drill into the body and actually mount this this bridge. So what I did was I took a brad point drill bit that was about the same size as the holes, and I centered the where I'm going to drill. I did a little pilot hole on where I'm going to drill, and I centered it with a brad point bit. So when I actually go ahead and drill into the body, it'll be centered right on each one of those holes. So another thing I'm also doing is, let me zoom out here a bit, is I am measuring, here's the screws that mount the bridge. I just use a caliper. So I want to make sure I get the right size bit. Here's all the bits. So I want a bit that's undersized my screw. So here's the screw, holds it in. I just measure it from here. And it's about 13. So I'm going to find a bit that's a little bit smaller than that. That's too small. It's about 9. So 10, 11, 12, 13, 1/100th of an inch, 13 1/100ths, and this bit is about 9 1/100ths. So that's probably going to be a good hole right there, a good size hole. So I'm just going to go ahead and now maybe if I take this off, you can see where I marked the holes. I'll zoom in on that. I can zoom in on that. So right here you can see I centered those holes from where that bridge needs to be drilled. And all I'm going to do is make sure I set my depth. So I'm going to put a little piece of tape so I don't drill any further than the length of the screw. So I'll just use like a little piece of blue tape for that. And I'll go ahead and drill the holes. So I just wanted to give you a little view on how I'm doing this. I'm doing it with a variable speed Dremel. And starting off on the slowest setting. That's what that looks like. We'll be right back. Okay, welcome back. What I'm going to do is I'm going to mount this neck to the body. And usually I clamp it and I get it lined up, but this neck fits so snug in that body and it's already in alignment that I don't feel like I even need to do that. So what I'm going to do though is what I've noticed on guitars is these holes are about 5/32 in diameter, and the screws are a little bit smaller than that, of course, and so you want the screws to drop through into the neck, and then the screws are a little bit bigger than 1/8, so 1/8 is actually what I want to actually drill into the neck, a little bit undersized of the screw, but there's a little slop there, right? So I want to drill these holes out. I want to drill these holes out to 5/32. I want to get that brad point in there to center that screw hole where I want to drill it into the neck. So this is 5/32, which is a little bit larger than the 1/8, and a little bit larger than the screw itself, which is a little bit larger than 1/8. So this is the brad point center. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to use this to get my center. So I'm not going to go too deep. I'm just going to give it a little score. That's it. The score. That's it. So let's see what that looks like. That gives me the center point right there. Now this neck has been plugged and replugged in the past, but you can see I have a nice center point now. Now I'm going to just drill to depth with my 1/8 inch bit. And you can see that if I use the caliper and I use to get my screw, I'm at about 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 64ths. And if I go to my 1/8 bit, I'm losing about 1, 2, 3, 3.5 64ths. So that should give me the right size pilot hole for this. And I've already marked the depth from up here So I'm just going to drill it through the body. So what I'll do is I'll put the neck back in. And I've got the hole centered now, so I know it's gonna center, no problem. And this is the depth for my screw. A little short here. I have to retape this. Doesn't seem like the right length. Well, I'm a little bit wondering if these screws are a little short. They seem a little short. I do have some other guitar screws here in my kit. I'm gonna have to go in there and see if no, they're not too short. They're fine. They're fine. I definitely don't make sure I don't want to drill too far here. So that's my depth. I'm going to go ahead and drill those. I'll be right back. Okay, so now I'm just putting the screws in, and I'm putting a little some butcher wax on them to make them go in easier. And just going to loosen this one up a little bit so the other ones can just seat properly. I always put a piece of cardboard here as a protector because you don't want to slip and bang up your guitar. So let's see how the 1/8 inch holes work. Working pretty well. Wow, perfect. Perfect. I won't go down all the way yet. That's just butcher's wax there. Let's get that out of the way. 2 more to go. I just get the wax all over the threads. And go ahead. Now, one thing I noticed about this body is that the holes are actually threaded in the body too. So I'm not going to disrupt that. Maybe that gives you a little bit more stability. I don't know. But it's actually threaded in the body, which I've never really seen that before. Maybe that's more common because I haven't been doing this very long, but all bodies that I've ever worked with, it hasn't been threaded in the body, just in the neck. That went in just absolutely perfect. Got 1 more to go. Just going to put the wax on the threads again. Going in a lot easier than I anticipated. Perfect. Can't believe how well that worked. So I'm going to just back it out a hair. And then I'm going to see if I can get these other ones to seat. And they all seem like they're seating just fine. There we go. And I'm just going to wipe off the excess here. Let's see what that looks like. It's perfect. Looks great. I'm just going to check it one more time with the string. Here's the string. The high E looks good. Low E looks great. So that's what it looks like. I think it's looking really great. The neck looks fantastic, and so the next thing, I'm just going to put the tuners into the neck and go ahead and start putting the electronics in. So I'll be back for that. One thing I forgot to show you was these ferrules that for the string through holes. What I'm doing is I'm just putting a little bit. I'm really nervous about knocking those in, like chipping that finish. So what I'm doing is I'm just putting a little bit of butcher's wax on the outside here, and then I have like a really soft rubber hammer, and I'm just trying to like get it lined up. Just push it with my finger just to get it lined up, and then just try to gently tap it in. Oh, I don't like that at all. But they seem like they're going in okay. No problem. I'm just going to put the wax on a little bit more on the side. Show you that. A little wax on there. The wax just to make sure. And then just try to seat it with my finger as hard as I can. And then just use the mallet. No problem. No problem. Makes you nervous knocking on a finish like that. So just want to get it centered and vertical as much as possible. And just go ahead and knock it in. I don't know if there's a better tool for this. Maybe there's a tool that seats the ferrule better, but this is all I have. So I'll just keep going here and I'll be right back. Okay everyone, this is the big unveiling of the blacked out Telecaster. So here we go. Oh, it's nice, isn't it? Now the neck, it might look a little bit yellow on the photograph here, I mean on the film, the video, but really it's a nice rich amber. Everything's blacked out. Here's the tuners. Here's the back. It's got the skunk stripe on it. It's the back of a lot of fingerprints on it right now. I haven't had time to polish it. But one thing also I did too is I put the biggest set of strings I could put on it, the fattest set of strings. And I don't know what people are talking about when they talk about putting the light strings on there, that it's easier on the fingers. I actually think the bigger strings are easier on the fingers. Just I have the big frets on there, and it's just easier to finger the string. So that's what it looks like. I think it just came out absolutely beautiful. Just need to give it a good polish, wax it up a little bit, take the fingerprints off, but it's all in tune. The neck feels really good. I mean, the neck feels great. So that's it. On to the next one.